truth about no deposit property purchases. Now I see an awful lot of comment and discussion about buying property with no deposit. Now my name's Kevin Wright and I've been training property investors how to intelligently finance their properties. In actual fact, how to buy more property with less cash for the last 10 years. So you may think I'd know a bit about how to finance property purchases. Now, not only have I been training investors how to do that for the last 10 years, I've also been brokering every type of property finance from simple buy-to-let mortgages right up to multi-million pound development loans for more than 20 years. So if you've read a lot of stuff about these no money down deals, let me give you an honest appraisal of what the truth is on this. Sound interesting? Hey, keep watching. Now, there was a time when no money down property deals were available and they were used quite widely within the property investor community. And hey, I should know I was broken them perfectly legitimately and above board with no deception of lender or anything else, I might add, at the time. But look, that all came to a crashing halt in the credit crunch of 2008, 2009. If you were around that long ago in property and you made hay while the sun shined, you'd have built up a substantial portfolio over a very short period of time. But you can't replicate that right now. You can get close to it, but you can't do it in the way that people did it, hey, what is it now, 15 plus years ago. So can you buy a property in today's climate whilst you put no deposit down? In simple terms, no you can't. And anyone that says that you can, I would suggest you drill down and find out exactly how they're suggesting you do that. Now I guess no money down could more accurately be described as none of your own money down. And is that possible? Well, it could be. Let's look at the different ways you could do that. Now, firstly, you could use someone else's money for the deposit. Now, that's not a no money down deal, it's someone else's money down deal, because the lender is only going to lend you, say, 75%, the 25% has to come from someone else if it's going to be a none of your own money down deal. Now, how easy is that to do? Well, there's two barriers here to making that work. One is convincing someone to lend you 25% deposit. Now, they've either got to know you very well or trust you very much to stump up what is going to be, in most cases, tens of thousands of pounds. And if you're getting a mortgage on the property, well, the best you can give them is a second charge. So borrowing this money from individuals, it may be possible, but it probably isn't as simple. Second barrier to that is mortgage lenders, because mortgage lenders don't permit you to borrow the deposit. Pretty much all mortgage lenders take this stance, except in the most extreme or unusual circumstances. So using OPM, other people's money, in terms of other individuals' money, is in theory possible, but it's by no means that easy in practice. And if that's your only workaround to doing no money down deals, or more precisely none of your own money down deals, you might find that an awful lot harder to actually get off the ground. So what's another way that you can borrow 100% of the purchase price? Well, using equity in a property that you already own is a way to do that. Now, I've shot a video on that. Here's a thumbnail that details that video, so you might want to jump and have a watch of that too. In essence, this will work for you if you already own a property, whether it's the one you live in or not, but it's got no mortgage. You may have bought it cash. You may have paid the mortgage off sometime previously. So you can offer a lender a first charge over the property you already own, plus the property you want to buy, and with the twin security, borrowing 100% of the purchase price is feasible. Now, of course, not everyone owns a property without a mortgage, so that may not be a practical solution for you. There's something missing in your life, and I know what it is. It's subscribing to my YouTube channel. You know you're going to feel better. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. Click the link and the dingy belly thing and the Instagram. That feels so much better, doesn't it? Now, a variant on that is, well, you've got a mortgage on a property that you own already, but it's a small one. In other words, it's no more than 50% of the value and probably less. So you've got a big chunk of equity in there. You could also use this on a cross-collateral basis. So using cross-collateral borrowing is a way to borrow 100% of the purchase price. But while it may be no cash in, it's certainly not no money down, because the money for the deposit is coming from a property that you've already acquired at some point in the past. So it's not an option that's open to everyone by any means. Now, you could possibly get a mortgage on this unencumbered property or this low geared property that you own, but that might not be so simple either. Because look, if it's your main residence mortgage, then that's all about your personal income and how you spend it. So even though you've got equity in the property, we see quite a lot that people actually can't access that equity because their personal income is not high enough. Now, for a rental property, it could also be the rental income isn't high enough. And we've seen this a lot in London and the southeast now, that on a standard single AST buy-to-let property, the rent is nowhere near big enough to get a 75% mortgage. In some cases, it qualifies for a little more than 50%. So with a buy-to-let mortgage, you may not be able to access it either. Now, I've also seen this as well. People that have had a mortgage property, they've cleared down that mortgage. It's probably taken them years of graft to do that, and they've got an emotional reluctance to borrowing on another mortgage. They've said to me, Kevin, we didn't spend 15 years paying the thing off to then take another mortgage out. Now, other people have got a credit issue. They've got an impaired credit record, which means that even though they've got the equity there, they might have the income there, but actually their credit is not good enough for mortgage lenders to lend. Other people could get mortgages, but actually their level of activity in property means that that money, having borrowed it, would then sit idly in a bank account earning next to nothing for months on end. So what would the alternative be? Well, the alternative would be bridging finance. Now, if you're watching my videos, you'll know it's no surprise for me to talk about bridging finance. But then, hey, look, I've brokered hundreds of things, going back over a decade. So, bridging is one area where I've got a lot of knowledge on. Now, for all those people that, for one reason or other, couldn't get a mortgage to leverage the equity in their property to put into another property, they could certainly get cross-collateral bridges. Bridges aren't concerned with your income, they're not concerned with your credit history over much. You can pay the bridging loan back as soon as you've completed and sold or refinanced the property project that you're looking to buy. So not relying on mortgages ticks certain people's boxes. Now, with cross-collateral bridging, first charge lending, i.e. if you haven't got a mortgage, you can give the bridger first charge in the property, they'll probably go to 75% of the value. Now, you might want to do a quick calculation in your head. If 75% of the value of your property can be put down as a 25% deposit on a property you want to buy, now you might want to do a bit of a mental calculation here, because if 75% of a property you own with no mortgage on it is only 25% of a property that you want to buy in terms of the deposit, how big a game could you play? If it's a second charge, in other words, that you've already got a mortgage on it, but it's 50% or below, then bridgers will go to 65% of the value of the property, less your mortgage, and the bit that's left is your usable equity. So summing up what we've been talking about this week, which is the truth about no money down deals. Well, no money down deals don't really exist. None of your own money down deals exist, but to a lesser degree, and it could be none of your own cash deals. Now, I always think it's good to put some realism on what is often talked about in property. Because look, it's easy to get confused by listening to so many different competing things about what people say about what you can and what you can't do. Now, if you found that video helpful, let me know in the comments. I promise I'll read it and I promise I'll answer it. And hey, guess what? I'm going to be back next week with another property finance video. See you then. If you enjoyed watching this video, did you know every Monday morning at 8:30 I do a live Facebook Q&A. So if you want to start the week with checking out some answers to your property finance questions, click the link here.